So if you're thinking about moving to Oceanside, California, today we're going to hop into the map and show you boots on the ground, a little bit of dual action, what's going on in Oceanside, show you top 5 neighborhoods. So you can decide, are any of these spots for you? First one, we got coastal neighborhoods, we got some inland neighborhoods, and the last one is one of the places that has probably the most housing in all these neighborhoods in Oceanside, so you're gonna have the most choices. So if you are thinking about moving out here, you're gonna wanna check that one out for sure, but let's jump into it right now.
So first off, where is Oceanside? Oceanside is the furthest north coastal city of San Diego County. So if you're coming from downtown San Diego, it is going to be straight up the coast, up the 5 freeway, gets you right into the heart of downtown Oceanside. As you can see, it's about a 40-minute drive to the airport or from the airport to up to Oceanside. But Oceanside is one of the larger cities in North County, especially, and it's a big area of land. So you can be even further east in Oceanside. It's maybe a 50-minute drive, maybe even close to a 55 or an hour, especially depending on traffic. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are commuting to the airport or anything. Kind of staying in that coastal zone is probably where you want to be at.
So first neighborhood we're going to hop into is the most coastal neighborhood we're going to cover today, which is South Oceanside, also known as South O. If you're living in Oceanside, this is the Oceanside. Other areas of Oceanside we mentioned go way far back, but this is going to be the closest to this whole central area of downtown Oceanside. Over the past few years, this whole area has really started to see some growth, and it's all up and down Coast Highway, and a lot of it is concentrated to this central area around the pier, where you do have a lot of new restaurants and shops. There's a few new hotels, so the tourists, it's starting to become more of a tourist destination. The Brick Hotel that you're seeing pop up right here, they have a few restaurants in here. They have a rooftop deck with a restaurant. It's just a cool little spot down there. And you're seeing more and more of these little kind of boutique restaurants / hotels pop up as well. A lot of South O is right around this area here. Obviously, when you light it up, it does go all the way to the coast as well. But most of the homes are right in this section. As you go in here, a lot of them, like I mentioned, are these little homes. A lot of them have been remodeled over the years. So which were once maybe 3-bedroom, 1-bath homes, like that's just how they were built with 1-car garages. Over the years, people have added on extra bedrooms, gone up. So like these 2 stories in there, and you still will find a lot of those kind of beach bungalows. And as far as North County, San Diego goes, price points in South O compared to other coastal communities here in San Diego, this is relatively affordable. Now, we're not talking like super affordable, but for being this close to the beach and all of the stuff that's going on in South O, this is relatively affordable.
And like Chris mentioned, they are smaller homes. And when we're talking smaller, like there's some that are under 1,000 square feet. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're looking for like a 3,000 square foot house that's close to the beach, this part of Oceanside is probably not going to be a fit. Actually, most of Oceanside is probably not going to be a fit. So, it's just something to keep in mind. You can see that they're a lot smaller than some of the other kind of newer neighborhoods where, you're seeing a lot of 2,000 square foot houses. This is, or 2,000 plus square foot houses. This is going to be definitely on the smaller side.
And one thing about this neighborhood too is community. So South Oceanside, all of Oceanside really has a really strong character. Everybody living there is super proud to be living there. This area, I've been up there, know some people up there, been up there a few times for like Halloween and stuff, and just it is a madhouse. All the neighbors are out, everybody's out cruising around. And then a few other things to note. Right in the center, you do have South O Elementary School. So if you got kiddos, a lot of these areas are going to be walkable to there, which is pretty nice. You do have a Buccaneer Beach, which isn't probably the most popular beach. It's the closest beach for sure, but it's just really small. It's like a little tiny beach right here. There's not too much, especially on high tides and stuff. The beach doesn't really disappear, but it's just not that big. If you're going to the beach here, yes, okay, you can go there. If you're surfing and whatnot, if you move out here, there's a lot of the little kind of end of the streets where you're going to find your own little spots. So there's just a lot of different, like most of this all going up like South Pacific and stuff. All the houses, this is where you'll find like houses right on the ocean. but there's not going to be much beach per se. A lot of them are lined by these rock, little basins to protect the houses. So you're going to find your own little spots. Like once you live there, there's like some little hidden nooks and crannies. The main beaches are a little bit further north as you go up to like the harbor and stuff. So not too far where you see the pier sticking out here. This whole section is where you'll find a lot more space. This is obviously probably the busiest too. So that's just another beach right here in this little section of Oceanside.
And South Oceanside is a really cool part of the city also because you're really close to Carlsbad and the Carlsbad Village, and another big stretch of beach right to the south as well.
Yeah, and one thing about, especially like we mentioned, kind of the downtown area of Oceanside where a lot of the stuff's going on, there's just more and more stuff popping up. So Vista Way, this is where the freeway ends, but there's a new little collective and right in this little section where you do have pizza spot, a little beer spot. Heritage Barbecue came out of San Juan Capistrano, really good barbecue spot. As you go up Coast Highway, you're just going to find a lot more spots. Little vegan restaurant here, Beach Break Cafe, local spot, best pizza and brew. I mean, it just keeps going on and on.
So let's get boots on the ground. Let's go check out this section of Oceanside. Here we are now, boots on the ground, right in the center of South Oceanside, South O as we call it here locally. And as you can see, you're kind of getting a mix of those kind of smaller houses or some with add-ons. Originally, they're all kind of small in the smaller zone. But
yeah, once you go up further north a little bit too, that's where you get a little bit smaller. Some of these that we're walking by definitely have been redone, have some additions and stuff to make extra square footage. The ones a little further north, they're like smaller 3-bed, 1 bath originally, maybe even 2-bed, 1 bath, where you had, I don't even know, 1,200 square foot or less.
Or less, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty small, little 1-car garages and stuff. So.
And then we're gonna also show you kind of what's around here. You got the elementary school here, right behind us here. So super walkable for walking to schools. But then we're gonna show you what's close by to go check out living in South Oceanside.
Yep, let's go see it. All right, now we're on Coast Highway, and this is like the main jam. This is where you're gonna find a lot of stuff, just not directly on Coast Highway. You'll find a few spots. You'll find a few spots a little further to the west a little bit. So right now, a Vital climbing gym. You get some memberships over here. Nice little indoor climbing gym. Right down this way, we're walking past Minnesota Ave right now. Right down this way is the Tremont Collective. So you got a coffee spot. There's a Brixton there. There's fish, shoots, and beer. What's it called?
Fish. Yeah, I think you got it.
I think that's what it's called.
It,
yeah, I always mess that one up. But a few other spots right down there. We're walking by Bagby right here. So great little beer spot, local beer spot right here in Oceanside as well. And then, like I said, a bunch more spots to the north, a bunch more spots to the south. So just a lot of cool places to explore right here in Oceanside.
Next on the list is a really cool part of Oceanside. Not that they're all cool, but this is a really just kind of different and very unique for Oceanside. And that is Fire Mountain, which is just to the east of South O. And it's just a really neat community. It is a big mountain, so there's a bunch of views. The lots are bigger. The houses are bigger. As a whole, there's still some of those kind of smaller beach bungalow style houses, but this is a spot where you are going to find larger houses. And then it's just the way it's situated, the way it just kind of flows. It just has a little bit more of like that rural feel to it. And so you can see some of these lots are just a lot bigger. It's not as dense. There are a lot of houses, but it's just not, the lots just keep them a little bit more separated than in South O, where it's just, tiny little houses.
But even in South, even the tiny houses, a lot of them do have big lots up there, which is nice. This area is a little bit different where you get larger lots and larger homes.
Yep.
And also a little more of that custom feel up here. So where certain areas, like the last area that we're going to cover, is a lot of tract neighborhoods, this area is a lot of custom neighborhoods. You'll find a few little new developments where it's like 4 or 5 houses where they just took like a big piece of land and then, separated it and made these like really brand new, nice new houses up there.
There also is a school in this community, elementary school. You've got Palm Quest Elementary School right there. And then Lincoln Middle School, which is the middle school that gets fed from a couple other neighborhoods around, is right there next to it as well.
And if you're moving to California, why not right off California Street? I mean, living the dream here in Oceanside. Real close as well, real close by, just for a few things to do. Obviously, you are close to downtown Oceanside. You're super close to the 5 freeway. So there's a few entrance and exits right to the north and to the south. Goat Hill used to be an old goat hill. Now, I don't know the history of it, but It's a new golf course now, which has a big old driving range. So if you just want to go grab a beer, hit some balls, you go do that. And even though it's like tucked away in here, it looks pretty small. It's a super fun course. It's got ups, it's got downs. I played it for the first time like a few weeks back. Actually had 2 birdies in a row, which is unheard of. I've never done that in my life. So I'm a big fan of Goat Hill anyways, but really cool little thing to have in there as well. You're going to find a little bit of that infrastructure right here off Oceanside Boulevard, which is one of the main thoroughfares here in Oceanside. But then also down to the south is this huge shopping center where you're going to have like all those big box stores. So Walmart's, Best Buys, you got LA Fitness, you have just everything and anything you need right down in this little section. And you're like a hop, skip, and a jump away. As always, we've got to bring up Target. So there's your Target right there.
Trader Joe's for everybody that asks about that right there. And then you've got the Carlsbad. Well, I call it the Carlsbad Mall. I don't know what it's actually called now, but just to the south of that too, where you've got pretty much everything of the shops at Carlsbad. So I suppose. So pretty much anything that's not in those big box stores is going to be here.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Now we're walking down a street in Fire Mountain. We're walking down an area. There's no sidewalks. That's kind of what you get up here. It's a little bit less walkable, a lot less walkable than that South O neighborhood, where it's just kind of like, I'm not going to say rural, but a little more spread out. The lots are going to tend to be a little bit bigger. So even some of these original houses, sometimes people are coming up here and basically revamping the whole thing, maybe even just like tearing it completely down and building these beautiful big houses. But then you're also going to find some the kind of that original smaller style in here as well.
So it's not super walkable, but there are schools kind of right in this community. So if walking to school is an important thing, there still are some lots and houses that work for that too.
And up here you do get a lot of character. We're just looking at a few of the houses around here, and they're like, pretty much none of them are the same. They're all unique, they're all different, and you are elevated on a hill. So right where we're at, you don't really get too many views except maybe off to this direction, but there are going to be some spots where you will get some gorgeous views. We're going to show you some of those shots with the drone, so you can check out what it looks like right here in Fire Mountain.
So next on the list is a really neat neighborhood, kind of not hidden, but a little bit hidden. This is a neighborhood just kind of due east of downtown Oceanside, and it's called Loma Alta. It's an older neighborhood, kind of in that same vein as South Oceanside with size of homes, but a lot of them have been either redone, added on. So you do have large lots for the most part, and kind of a mix of those smaller, like 800 and something square foot houses, up to like the larger 2,000 plus, even 3,000 plus in some areas. But like I said, the lots are going to be larger. They all kind of surround Buddy Todd Park, which you can see right there, which is a really cool community park there in Oceanside. Probably one of the biggest in Oceanside, actually. So on the left side of Buddy Todd Park, they don't tend to be huge. Most of that reason is it's on a big hill too. So a lot of them have like a drop off. Where you go kind of the east side of Buddy Todd, you can see some of those lots are enormous. And they go back a ways. And there's still some open space there too, which is kind of cool. So it just gives you kind of that more rural, open feel. And like I said, that's part of the reason I said it's hidden, is because it's just, the lots are bigger. It's a little bit less just suburban is kind of the feel.
Yeah, let's say it's hidden because if you have traveled to Oceanside, you've explored Oceanside, maybe you've taken the main thoroughfares, the 76 up here to the north, the 78 freeway down to the south, maybe even Oceanside Boulevard. But there's not much infrastructure in here. So you're not going to be like cruising up to this little section here. So you're most likely just going to be driving by it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're really searching for homes and you want to live in Oceanside, then this is a neighborhood you're going to want to drive up to and explore. We could hit you up with some addresses and whatnot just to kind of get in there and get a good feel for what this whole neighborhood is like. And Loma Alta is same as Fire Mountain. You are elevated a little bit. So obviously the map, it looks flat, but once you get up there, you do have some opportunity for views up there, depending on where you are. Some of these roads are like kind of going up a hill. So even the side little things where you do have some open space on the sides, you will have some either east or west views, and then shooting down to that downtown area. So you just go right down Mission, and that's going to drop you right in the heart of everything that we just talked about. Where you're going to go to, I'm going to send you to a place where is Craftco. So all these parking lots are filled in now. See, there's a rooftop bar, a valet. This map is not completely updated. You do have, let me bring you to a little bit of the street view to show you what it looks like now, because it's a little bit different. These are the hotels that we were talking about. As you're cruising towards this a brick building over here, here's the place that as I'm hopping across the train tracks, Craft Coast Beer and Tacos. Fantastic beer, really good tacos.
I'd say fantastic.
Fantastic tacos, yes. It's one of the spots, if you're exploring Oceanside and you're like, all right, we're gonna go explore Oceanside, let's go check a few places out, but we're hungry and we need a drink. So maybe do it pre-search or maybe even after, whatever you want.
Or both.
Both. Go to both. Go check out Craft Coast right here, right off kind of that main drag. And it'll put you right in the heart of this central area too, where you kind of cruise out and explore, walk around a little bit and see kind of the vibe of this neighborhood. And you can see this isn't updated. So as you're cruising around, these are all big old buildings now. But right over on Pier View Way, you have the Sunset Market. I believe it's every Thursday, where you have a bunch of vendors. You just have you got some music going on. You could just, it's a really good time to kind of, once again, get the vibe of Oceanside. Parlor Donuts, stop in for a good donuts there. Go hit up Stone. Here is the Brick Hotel that we just mentioned, where you have oyster spot on the bottom. And then on the top, you do have a nice little, that's where the rooftop bar is as well.
So right now we're in Loma Alta, which is a really cool neighborhood here in Oceanside. We're walking through part of Buddy Todd Park, which is a pretty good sized park here. Bathroom, playgrounds, kind of all the things you need.
Lifted up on top of the hill, right through these trees, you can see the ocean.
Yeah, big ocean views for a big stretch, big section here. So all these homes are kind of on hills. You'll kind of see that when we get up in the air and driving through some of the neighborhoods, but very different, very like the types of housing is kind of widespread, lots of smaller houses, lots of larger houses, big lots is kind of the overall kind of feel of what you're getting out here.
Yeah, and price points are going to be a little bit less than Fire Mountain, a little bit less than South O, so a little more bang for your buck in this little section of Oceanside.
Next up is a little neighborhood near, kind of right on the border of Calavera Hills and Carlsbad and the 78 freeway in Oceanside. So this is the only neighborhood we're going to talk about that's south of the 78. And
real quick, there's not many neighborhoods south of the 78. Ocean Hills, a 55 plus community right here, but there's just this little sliver of Oceanside. It kind of goes where my mouse is going, wraps around this. This isn't exact, but somewhere in that zone. Most of Oceanside is to the north.
Correct. And so this neighborhood is kind of right on that border of Carlsbad, Oceanside, and a little bit on the older side. It is once again on a hill. You'll hear us talk about that in pretty much every city in San Diego. It's all hills. So, but there are some really cool homes within this community, and it's really close to a ton of infrastructure. So, lives very much just kind of convenient. You got big shopping centers just to the west of here. You've got Carlsbad just to the south. You've got the 78 right there. So if you have any type of commuting, either downtown or if you're going up to Orange County, super convenient to get 78 to either the 15 or the 5 to get you pretty much anywhere you need to get in Southern California.
One note about this neighborhood, I'd recommend, if you are looking in here, if you go explore this neighborhood too, you'll see it go off of Lake Boulevard, just because it's not like a crazy busy road, but it is somewhat busy. And if you got kids and what, you don't really want them running around, on all these houses. There's not too many of them. Most of them are going to be off in these tucked away in, Alto, Vista, Calaveras. And then also right here, one part of Carlsbad that you will have access to is Lake Calavera hiking trails. So all of these little dots here where there's a few trailheads off some of these neighborhoods just to the south, you do have all of these trails cruising up. Big old retired, I guess it's not retired, it's extinct volcanoes. Nonetheless, you do have a huge outdoor area here. You can see big open space where you can go explore. So if you're living up here, start your run, head out your door, connect to one of these trails, and then kind of get lost in here for a little bit, cruise back down, got some elevation. So go up and down, and you could also shoot down from here, from Lake. You could shoot down to downtown Carlsbad pretty darn quickly too. So a little bit further than, Loma Alta to downtown Oceanside, but you can just follow College and then shoot down Carlsbad Village Drive. This is the downtown area of Carlsbad, where you're going to have a ton of restaurants and shops. So date nights and whatnot, you go hit up a lot of these places down here. As with all these neighborhoods we have been showing you as well, we're going to hop into Lake and show you what it looks like, boots on the ground.
So this is the smallest neighborhood that we've covered in this video, but this is kind of the Lake community is what we call it. It's on the south side of Oceanside, just south of the 5, as you've seen.
The 78.
Or 78. But they kind of built, it's an older master plan development, but they built it kind of to the topography. So the houses that are behind us, kind of to the side of us right now, are the single story floor plans. And there's a bunch of those kind of in the flat areas. And then there's a bunch of hills. So you'll see that on the hills, they're all split levels. So they really just built into the hillsides of these neighborhoods.
And right here, you're pretty convenient, just at the bottom of the hill. That's where you have a lot of infrastructure and stuff. There's, you know, if you're walking around here, yeah, you're gonna be going up and down hills. But once you get down to the bottom, that's where you have kind of anything and everything you need. You got the freeway entrance right down there as well. So pretty nice little area right here in the southern section of Oceanside. And right over here too, you're super close to Carlsbad. Right over this way, where you do have the Calavera hiking trails, and you know, in the map we showed you too, where you could shoot down to Carlsbad Village, you could shoot down to the beach pretty quick. So that's where we're at.
Next neighborhood that we are going to check out is going to be Ivy Ranch / Rancho del Oro. It's actually two different neighborhoods. Ivy Ranch is one, Rancho del Oro is one, but on this map, and when we talk about it, we're putting it as the same. We can even extend it a little bit back into this area too, and a little bit up here, but this is a big master plan community. This is where you're going to find the most housing that we've talked about today, and the most affordable housing that we've mentioned today too. So a lot of the same style. There's a bunch of these little villages, they're called, around Rancho del Oro, where you do have, you know, some good sized homes, but they're not super small. You can find little smaller ones as well, but you will find a lot of homes, which is great. So if you're exploring Oceanside, you want to be in central Oceanside, you want to be in that kind of, you don't mind those tract neighborhoods where all the houses look the same, where, you know, Fire Mountain and a few other neighborhoods a little more custom. This is not custom here. So Rancho del Oro and Ivy Ranch, you're also going to have some condo options as well going in throughout here. So even a little bit more affordable, and a lot of them are somewhat new. So not like 70s, 80s, 90s. You're going to go a little bit more recent than that. So you will have some of that newer condo where it's kind of that newer style where you're doing like ground floor, you have kind of the living area, and then you have kind of the bedrooms and stuff upstairs. So those 3-story buildings.
Rancho del Oro is a little bit on the north side of kind of the northeast corner of Oceanside. So it's close to the 76 freeway, and then the 78 freeway is not that far off either, just to the south. So convenience wise, it takes a little bit longer to get to the freeway than some of the other neighborhoods we've talked about. But pretty much anything and everything you need, especially on that north side, is all that infrastructure right off the 76 is really close. All the shopping and everything we talked about off the 78 is just 10-minute drive for most of the homes in this neighborhood too.
And then right down in this little section here where you go College Boulevard and Oceanside Boulevard, this is where you're going to find another big shopping center too, with just kind of the staples that you need. Nothing too local, you know, it's Albertsons, you do have your Starbucks, you do have your Planet Fitness, etc. in there.
So for schools in this area, there are a few. You've got Ivy Ranch Elementary is kind of right in the middle of this box that we're showing you, but you've also got Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School right there, and then you've got McAuliffe Elementary kind of just on the south side, kind of on the border of Rancho del Oro and Ivy Ranch area.
And even from Rancho del Oro / Ivy Ranch, if you're going to, let's call it the Oceanside Harbor, you are not going to be too far. So if you're moving to San Diego for that beach life, this is one of the areas where you're not too far inland. So if you're going like further inland in Oceanside or those vistas or San Marcos is, you're definitely not super coastal. We'll just bring us to the harbor and give you a quick little idea. You're looking at like 17 minutes. So not too bad. You could even just shoot down to the pier as well, or a few other beaches once you figure it out down here. But as far as getting to the beach, living that beach life, this is going to be not too bad.
Now we're in that tract neighborhood called Rancho del Oro. This is where you're going to find a lot of the same style houses, a lot of the same floor plans. This is going to be more affordable than a lot of the areas we saw today. You're going to find a lot of these little pocket parks in this area that are taken care of by the HOA. Last time we filmed up here, I think we looked it up, there was like 40 something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a lot of these little pocket parks anyways, but there's just a lot up here. So if you're looking Oceanside, like I said, this is one of the areas that we send people a lot, just because there's so many options and so many different little villages up here.
And a lot to choose from. That's the big thing too, is that since it is such a big master plan community, there tends to be more homes on the market in this area, and kind of different sizes too. You'll have some neighborhoods that are in that like 1,800 square feet, some in that low 2,000, and then up into kind of the bigger homes like we're walking through now.